Okay, changed some stuff up. It's Friday and I was bored, so I figured out over this week and last weekend, that this 2450 kV motor, this Furby motor, this green, it does really well like the 2450 motor that I had, but it doesn't overheat as much. I think it's because it's a bigger bell housing, and it's not a year old, so I mean the other one I had held up pretty well, but on high speed runs it seemed like it got hot, and this one doesn't so far. So I originally had the green motor on the Sonic model, but I took it off, put it on there because I don't know where it is. The original motor started looking pretty black, not coppery, charred out black, like black. So I put that on there so I didn't have any motor failures while flight. And the motor on there that was on there was like already like a year old, maybe not quite a year. I'd say a couple months actually, because I got this at the beginning of the year. It still works. It's just they're black, as black as the paint. And I think that's just because I had my prop on wrong one day, and I was having to give it a lot of throttle to keep it in the air. Anyways, so that's got a new motor on it, and I put that nice gem fan prop on there, and I know for a fact that that prop pulls less amps than this one, but this one gives me a higher top speed. I have more of those blue props, and I usually run it on here, and it gives me less torque roll, and it pulls out way less amps and like all around speed. But like it pulls less amp when you're going fast. But this one just is a beast. I ordered these. I don't even know what they are. They're just some generic knockoff fucking bullnose props. I think they were supposed to be red, and they sent me orange ones. But I didn't care because they work and they're strong. These, when you dent, they do kind of, it's like a different strength. Like those are more, they're just different. I can't explain it. These, if you hit them hard enough, they'll actually hold the shape. That if you hit, it'll like chip off. Anyways, this is what I did to the Sonic Model 600. I threw tape all over it. It's been like this for a while. This thing's hit the ground so hard. I put hot glue over the nose. Like I said, this thing's hit the ground so hard. So hard. I'm talking about fucking hard, and it still holds up. So, yeah, this is the second one. I had number 2, and it got lost out in the field, and someone found it because they chucked the battery out of it, or a Columbine rolled it over and somehow ejected the battery and kept the wire whole. Long story, just found out that somebody found my battery and not the plate. Anyways, this is a Sonic Model 600. I chopped the top recently just so I could take the battery out and not have to constantly take the top off to put a battery in, because there's wires that go to the GPS, wires that go up here. It's just nicer not having that problem. I can take it off, but it's a tight fit with the video transmitter. See, everything's there. It's a Matic WSE. It's an F411. And that's how that goes back on there. It's just nicer. This sits in there pretty well. It's hot glued. I had a 2-watt, that one on there, but with that in there, with everything, it got really hot. And eventually I noticed that the ends of my coax, or whatever you want to call it, SMA thing, was actually chipped and cracked. So I had to solder those. I still need to solder it. I need a new tip on my gun. It's like fucking gone. Yeah, this is a Sonic Model 600. This is the new Zing motor that I got. It's a 2207, and that's the bell housing size, and it's a 2750 for the KV. So yeah, that's what we got there. It's black and it's silver, and I did a little handheld thrust test just to see how much the thrust was, and it was pretty good. The amps did get up there around 50 when I was holding it in my hands and letting it push, but I'm assuming a little bit of that is from me holding it in place and it's not freely moving, so the amps were high, but it was around what they said their max was 50, so that was like current max, like flowing max. I wonder what happens when I actually get it in the air and get going full throttle. I'm going to do a couple passes tomorrow, and then we'll feel the motor and look. I'm going to take baby steps though, because I don't want to burn this motor up. I'd rather just not full pass it and burn it. I'd rather just know my limits and not touch them. Because the motor's really nice, and it was only like 25 bucks. So it took like a week to get here. Ordered it on eBay because it was the cheapest and closest and fastest for shipping. But yeah, that's that. And the CG is right on the wing tips. Like if you grab it right here, fingers out, it balances really well. Really well. I mean, you can grab it anywhere. It's usually right here though, is the CG. That's where it's supposed to be, right on the wingtips. Yeah, this one does like 120 and hoping to go faster. It's done 120 with the wind. It does like 100, 110, 116, oh, I'm 15. Yeah, right around there. Not always 120. But this I'm hoping to maintain that hit. These batteries are getting pretty old too, so I need to order a new 4-cell battery soon. We got the 2-watt AKK video transmitter on there. And then this is the one I built for my birthday, and I got it in the air, but the motor mount broke, so I had a guy 3D print the back plate, and I got it in the air with like a 450 kV motor, but the CG was all off. And that's like a smaller motor. But I had it in the air with this one originally, this new Sunny Sky motor. I just complained to get FPV when I bought the plane that the motor was underpowered and that the motor burnt up, and they just paid for me to get the new motor. I had to show the receipt. So this is Sonic Model Pro. I do have another one because I think this one is just cursed. Yeah, I bought new servos for it today, and those ones I didn't like them, so I put these ones back in. Yeah, I got it with the slight 2mm up trim because that's what they're supposed to say you're supposed to have. And I think that's the problem I was having after I replaced the motor mount, was I didn't have up trim on the elevons or whatever you want to call them. So now I do, because I remember before I did have to favor on my stick when I threw it, but it went, and every time I did it, now it didn't. So anyways, I put up trim on there just a little bit so that hopefully helps, and I made sure that the movements are the same. And I reused a beeper from a drone that I had, which I realized I had an extra beeper. That's a Maytech WTE F411. The only thing is different is the plug is like a Type C plug, like, you know, plug. And then flight controller is a different style of, not flight controller, the flight stabilizer, we'll call it, is a different kind than the other one in there. GPS is right up underneath here. Then you got your speed controller and all that back there. Camera there, and the video transmitter over here. This is my prototype pretty much. Just, I had it flying perfect, and then I came down and this was like this, and then it skipped along the ground and barely pulled the motor plate off, and yeah. So now I have a few extra 3D prints that I bought from a guy, and I tipped him. He gave me these kind with the extra back piece, and this isn't the normal one that I use because the little holes are a little more like smaller and they fit better. Yeah, and then I'm using Crossfire Pro little transmitter or receiver. That's a receiver. Yeah, that's what I got. And that's not my headset. That's my old headset. I still like it. It's my little what was this, a Firefox or something like that? Oh, I forget what it was called. Damn it. As a Fire Maker. Maker Fire. Yeah, Maker Fire. Still good. I'll let people use it and wear it. And that's my TX16S controller. Yeah, stay tuned for tomorrow for that and that. I'm hoping I get that bitch in the air because it's pissing me the fuck off. And this one's always fucking awesome.